You are a coach, expert, or educator who has a line in your journal that says scale to 7 figures, and you're waiting for your sign to grow and move your business forward, then I got you, because I recently scaled from 75K in credit card debt to 100K months and a 7-figure year. And I care about alignment and divine timing, and I have a lot to share, so let's get into it. And we all want to enjoy the deliciousness of just having the experience and enjoying what would be like alignment or delicious ease in my cup. But if I only had coffee, you wouldn't even be able to see it, because it would be a hot mess all over my desk, literally. I need this cup. I need this masculine structure. I need this business logic in order to hold my alignment. Okay, another example. I have a therapist, and we talk about alignment being like a balance beam. But you have to have a balance beam to be able to be on alignment. Like if you're just wobbling and cartwheeling and doing tricks with like no groundedness, no strategy, no base of abundance for coaches, no client acquisition system, and you're just cartwheeling and you're trying things, but you have no base of foundation, you have no balance beam, then it doesn't matter if you're aligned, because you're always going to be wobbly. And I use these metaphors because it was really difficult for me to understand how to map my spirituality onto business. Real talk, coming in hot like my coffee today. And this is because this is a video that I needed a few years ago, as most of these videos on this channel are. And now that I'm sitting on a 7-figure empire, it really is built brick by brick. And it's not sexy or magical like I really thought it was going to be. And I've been reflecting on just like the BS that burned me out and took me 9 years to get here, because I am a spiritual person and I have plenty of rituals and commitments to alignment and things that I do in my personal life or in my spiritual life that make my business partner laugh out loud. And I want to share some of the things that kept me stuck, because I relied on a lot of hopium that never paid off the way that a lot of other marketing gurus or spiritual mentors incentivized me with, thinking, oh yeah, one day all of this work will pay off. So if you don't know me, I'm Hannah. I'm the CEO of Dream Life Consulting, where we help coaches, experts, and consultants scale to 50K per month. And that's because we bring them 3 to 10 high-ticket clients every single month using our systems for lead generation, sales, and scaling. If you want to know exactly how we do that, there's a link below. You can go watch our entire system walkthrough, because today I really want to share with you some of my own personal journey, because I overcomplicated something that was very simple, and I don't want it to take you 9 years to figure out how do I lead with alignment, live in my spiritual values, but also grow a 7-figure empire. Like I know you are journaling in your mindfulness journal every freaking morning after you stretch and drink lemon water and meditate, because I am you. I was doing all of those things. So for the sake of this video, let's skip over my hustle bro era, where I burned out on running ads and webinars and sending DMs and just being online 24/7, trying to convince people to work with me as a coach. And we'll also skip over the era where I worked for someone else and I just relied on them bringing me the clients. So I never even had to do the marketing. I just got to focus on the success coaching side of things. And we'll skip over the part where I left that organization and then I had an NDA, so I could not coach for a year. So I went out and built a multi-6-figure marketing agency in just 3 months. And we'll fast forward to 2022, when I decided to come back to coaching. And the commitment that I had in 2022, and where I want to start this video, is that I was going to lead with mindset and law of attraction and my woo and magic. I really wanted to build something leading with alignment, leading with my spirituality. And it was the most painful season of my life, and way harder than not knowing anything. This was the hardest season of my life, but looking back, I'm glad that I ran that experiment now, because so many coaches get stuck here, and now we help them get over that. And I do believe that lived experience is one of our most powerful tools as transformational leaders. And so I've overcome a lot of my own embarrassment and shame and frustration around how I tried to run my business for several years to now make that mess part of my message. So if you are in the stage where you think that if you're not in alignment, then it's not the right time to take action or grow in your business. And if you think you need to feel clear and confident and divinely guided before you launch or post or sell or even just show up, then you think, I know you, because you think you're protecting your energy, but what you're really doing is stalling your momentum, because this is what I was doing. And again, I wanted to lead with mindset and magic. I even invested $20K in a mastermind that was going to help me use the law of attraction in my lead gen. And I also invested in another $15K in a mindset coach that was going to help me figure out how to use my human design to sell in alignment. And so I kept getting signs from the universe, these people that I paid money to, who I wanted to believe in. I thought I could just sit back and wait for the universe to do the work for me. And so I even took some of the advice from this mastermind to go ahead and delegate the things in the business that I didn't feel like doing. So of course, the first things I didn't feel like doing were marketing and lead generation. And so I hired other people, copywriters, ads manager, agency type bros, and I just sat back and waited for them to go figure out my messaging, for them to go bring me these qualified leads. And then when they did, I would just judge them because I didn't feel like talking to anyone, because I was so deep in my, I just need to be taking afternoon naps and waiting and feng shuiing my house and waiting and again, like stalling my own momentum. So, but I didn't know I was stalling my own momentum at the time, right? This is all hindsight. This is all coming from my own lived experience, because in 2022, I really thought I just needed to do the work required to manifest clients, and I'll delegate the rest of these things to other people and sit on the beach and suck hopium, okay? And I told myself, especially with these like people who were out supposed to be doing things for me, and it was more like commission-based types of stuff. They were VAs overseas. They weren't really experts. I was just like, stay busy, everyone. And I was just like paying them money based on the few clients that I did have paying me every month. And I had some referrals coming in, which was fine, right? Like I could pay these people and I could kind of keep my head above water for 2022. But then when 2023 came, we'll talk about this, the finances really got rocky because of this mastermind and hopium I was sucking, and then the money that I was bleeding to people who weren't actually bringing me results or actually growing the business. Not because they were doing anything wrong, but because of how I was not leading. So I was telling myself things like, I'm not going to pay for anything. I'm not going to commit to anything until I feel 100% guided by the universe. Or literally in 2023, I had a conversation with a millionaire mentor, and I was like, I'm not paying anyone anything until I make another 50K. And she was like, but you've been trying to do that for 2 years by yourself. Like, I had let go of logic, right? And it's interesting because I kept logic in some parts of my life, like exercise. I used to be a health coach. And so like I understood in my health routines that like I needed to keep swimming, biking, and running if I wanted to keep participating in sprint triathlons. Like I knew there that I had to be my own leader and I had to put the reps in, and I couldn't expect to stay fit while not taking any action. But I did believe that in my business, thanks to these mentors and law of attraction business mastermind that was like, no, do less, sit back and wait, get into alignment. But I had lost so much logic in the business that I was telling myself, I'm not going to invest in anyone else until I get $50,000 or someone promises me $50,000. So if you have been meditating and instead of messaging people or waiting instead of taking action, or lighting a candle instead of sending invoices, or praying that a mentor is going to fall from the sky instead of pulling up your own big girl pants and using logic in some parts of your business, then I get it. I was you, but I also want to pull you out of those weeds, because it took me a year and a half to 2 years to overcome the deep hole of spirituality that I had gotten my business into. So what actually happened in those seasons? Now, I was relying on referrals. I had some word of mouth people. I had some good clients who were like, yeah, just hire Hannah. Like, she's great. I don't even know what they were saying. I really didn't have to sell. I just showed up and was like, okay, making different offers for everyone, doing hourly for some people, doing 6 months for some people, doing a year for some people, just honestly feeling like, what can I get out of them? Right? What can I get out of them was my sales mentality. But again, guised in the law of attraction, like, what am I here to receive, right? I'm open and willing to receive. I'm open to be surprised and delighted in the most amazing ways. Those were the mantras that I chewed on, that worked for a little bit, because sure, I got in my comfort zone. And I will also admit that in 2022, I had worked hard enough in my business for about 7 years that my husband and I were able to buy our dream house paid in full. And so I was comfy. And so I was also sitting in my dream home, just like feng shuiing and feeling cozy and comfortable and having this kind of toxic confidence that like people will keep coming. I even left social media because I was just like good and cruising. Again, I had all these other people that I was paying. And so I thought I was in my queen energy and thought my only job was going to be to get into alignment and keep attracting opportunities and clients and $50,000 out of the sky. And the other thing that had happened to me is that I was so jaded on the whole online sales and marketing world and this mastermind that I had joined that just ended up getting me into more debt, that I was really unwilling to even get on sales calls or talk to people. What actually happened after 6 months of doing this goes on and I don't really have any traction in my business, then 8 months goes on and client contracts run out. My credit card debt was racking up, my client roster was drying up, and so I thought it was law of attraction bringing me these ideas to just go give free value. And so I thought, okay, I need to use my superpowers to manifest an idea of how I'm gonna get my next clients. And I've never really believed in launches. If you've heard me talk before, I think launching is just like the craziest thing to do. It's like NASA, okay? NASA takes 11 years and $2 billion and puts a rocket in the sky, and we all sit back on TV and hope it doesn't blow up in our faces. And then we just went through $2 billion of resources in 11 years. Like, that's the same thing coaches do when they think, I'm gonna put together some like fancy tech funnel. Like, I never had $2 billion or 11 years to put into some rocket launch. So I knew I wasn't gonna like go down the launch route. But I started using law of attraction and looking out at, okay, well, what are other people doing? And I started copying their ideas, which I should have known better. What works for other people is not going to work for me just because it worked for them. One of our clients, Leslie, had seen some success. Like, she was getting a few clients, hosting these healthy hypnosis hours, and I thought, okay, maybe I just need to show up and give free value. But then I watched both Leslie and my own pipeline dry up, because you do that free value thing a couple of times, and then who else is going to come? So I was doing all of these things. I was meditating multiple times a day, just hoping that something would literally fall from the sky or someone else would come and save everything. There was a day, and I've talked about this before, my rock bottom moment was in 2022. I was crying on my bathroom floor of this house. You know, I had manifested my dream house, my dream boat husband. Here I was in like these great physical manifestations around me. But my business was dying, and I was crying on the bathroom floor again, hoping someone else would come and save me. And that was when I realized no one is coming to save me. I had so many walls built up that nobody could get through. And so I was stuck with my spiritual laurels, but no morals, no business logic, no real strategy. And this is when I remembered what I had known in the past, what I had known in my physical endeavors and my fitness, is that hope is not a strategy. Write that one down. Hope is not a strategy. You've heard it before, but I'm afraid you're applying it to your business if you're still watching this video. And you can hope your way into alignment, and you can hope your way into Tony Robbins, you rah rah, go feel good power poses that are going to make you feel good short term, just like I was doing. But long term, and doing this for a year and a half had me at my breaking point, that I had to be radically honest with myself and say the universe is not bringing me a sign with a lead generation system on it. I need to lead myself. You can't delegate belief. You can't give up your marketing strategy to the universe. You can't outsource your own personal power. So here's the truth that changed everything, and how I was able to rebuild from $75K in credit card debt to a 7-figure organization in less than a year. It wasn't more magic. It wasn't a sabbatical. It wasn't some miracle winning the lottery, paying off my credit card debt. It was doing the darn things, especially when I didn't feel like it. So it was dropping this idea that I must be in alignment, then I'll do the thing, right? It's the same thing with fitness. Oh, I'll go to the gym after I've lost 10 pounds. You don't get into alignment. You don't lose 10 pounds without getting into motion. So it was showing up even when I had a pit and a knot and a fire in my belly that made me feel sick, and thought I'm going to get myself adrenal fatigue again, just like I did in my hustle bro years. But overcoming that and realizing, actually, this fire in my belly is the fuel that I've been waiting for. It was selling anyway, even before the program was ready. It was going out and having conviction and solving people's problems, yes, on discovery calls, and talking to randos that I didn't know from the internet. It was leading, especially when I felt wobbly. And it was in this difficult season of 2023 that I realized I had been resisting growth under the guise of alignment. Now, I was doing feel-good growth things like looking at my human design chart and learning new EFT tapping strategies, and literally just creating this chaos around me of tools and things that I thought I needed to do every single day, and sleeping on every decision and asking for 24 hours before I knew what I wanted for dinner. Like, I was just so cloudy in all of these ideas that I thought were going to get me growth. Alignment, clarity, divine timing, those were the things I was relying on to grow. However, in 2023, when I started doing the things that didn't feel like alignment, but I started getting results and things started changing, is when I realized growth is incredibly uncomfortable. Especially as transformational leaders, we drink personal development for lunch. We love this stuff. But human brains are wired for survival. Growth spurts are very uncomfortable. We think we get excited when we go buy new jeans, but we've actually been so uncomfortable in the old ones that we decide to get out of the pain of the old ones. And this growth sport really taught me that. People only really transform, people only really change, people being me, when there's enough pain, when there's enough of, I can't do this anymore, when you realize your comfort zone is actually the worst place that you can be coddling yourself in. So I stopped waiting for clarity. I stopped waiting for signs of a lead generation system, and I started creating it through action. And that is my forehead tattoo. It's invisible ink, but all of my clients know that I have a forehead tattoo, and I talk about this all of the time. It's my forehead tattoo just because I say it so often. Action brings clarity. Action, not inaction, sitting and waiting on your yoga mat, Hannah. I needed that lesson, but I was so blocked off. I wouldn't look at social media. I wouldn't check YouTube. I wouldn't answer emails. I didn't want any help from anyone because I thought the universe was going to bring me the answers. And now I realize that I'm here to respond to what's already existing. I'm here to be on the field, not watching life from the bleachers, just like, okay, I hope I get called by God to go play the game of my own life. So what I'm saying to you is that What I wish I had known, and what I want you to know today, if you're still here watching this video, is that you don't wait for alignment, you build it. Conviction comes after consistency, after showing up, after feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Clarity is earned, not downloaded. You get it because you've had enough life experience and you've been in the world and there's been texture to your hypothesis about what's going to work for you, that you then get the downloads of things clicking magically one day on the beach. But I didn't have a download for a year because I was so isolated in my prison of spirituality. So since this shift and being radically honest about what alignment means, it means going out and building it every day, rep by rep, choice by choice. I've rebuilt $1 million business from zero in less than a year. And I've helped dozens of coaches break the same cycle. One client said to me this week, Hannah, I was waiting on some sign. And luckily your LinkedIn message felt like a sign because I was at my rock bottom moment. And you, Hannah, are the one who gave me permission to go do the things that I really wanted to do and figure out a way to do it in alignment. And now I'm fully booked. And now I have time to go do afternoon massages and look at my human design chart. Literally, my people, we all love this stuff, but it has to be the cherry on top of a foundation of abundance. I thought I'm going to go do retreats, or I'm going to go to events or get in some room and just like rub shoulders and manifest the right people. And now I see that as cherry on the top. So when clients come to me and they're like, hey, I want to host an event or I want to travel for this thing, it's like, okay, well, how can your business pay for that? And it's because we have built a base of abundance, an actual client acquisition system that has real people coming in predictably, reliably. 3 to 10 clients per month is our guarantee for our clients. And it's like, do that first, then go to the events, then go talk about human design, then go explore your other passions. But just like in fitness, if you don't have a baseline of endurance, of being able to pick up the weights, of being able to ride a bike, of being able to swim some laps, then you're not going to go party at a triathlon. And this is not our fault. I want to take 100% responsibility for the things in my life, but I also see how this has not just impacted me, but again, so many of these clients, like the one I just mentioned, and so many people in my friend circle too, who get stuck in this prison of spirituality because these mentors who are teaching you to use your human design and rely on alignment have already built a lead generation pipeline. And so when people come to me and they're like, yeah, I invested in this launch and she told me to just put on Facebook ads and retarget my audience, it's like, okay, but that doesn't work if you don't have an audience, if you haven't solidified your message. And so you can't pour spirituality onto nothing, right? I think about this like a coffee cup where the feminine energy or the spirituality and the woo is like our artisanal blend of coffee. And we all want to enjoy the deliciousness of just having the experience and enjoying what would be like alignment or delicious ease in my cup. But if I only had coffee, you wouldn't even be able to see it because it would be a hot mess all over my desk, literally. I need this cup. I need this masculine structure. I need this business logic in order to hold my alignment. Okay, another example, I have a therapist and we talk about alignment being like a balance beam. But you have to have a balance beam to be able to be on alignment. Like if you're just wobbling and cartwheeling and doing tricks with like no groundedness, no strategy, no base of abundance for coaches, no client acquisition system, and you're just cartwheeling and you're trying things, but you have no base of foundation, you have no balance beam, then it doesn't matter if you're aligned because you're always going to be wobbly. And I use these metaphors because it was really difficult for me to understand how to map my spirituality onto business. But I had to take a season of logic and building the balance beam. I literally called it grad school, where it was like my entire life was like a construction zone. And I was burning down systems, like paying team for no reason, and firing old clients because I had all those awkward offers going on. Like I had to literally set fire to my old business and my old beliefs and then go to work rebuilding it like a balance beam, brick by brick. That's why I said at the beginning of this video, I thought getting to 7 figures and running a business that doesn't run me was going to be magical, and it was going to just land in my lap, and I was going to just wait and pray and meditate and hope for it to happen. But that's not how things happen in reality. Our brains are not wired for growth or success. Our intuition is there to just keep us cozy. We need to start using our action, right? Another friend of mine says, prayers up, feet on the ground, right? Yes, have hope, have optimism, know what you're here for, but then go move your feet and build your balance beam and get a system. And if you are a coach watching me that's like, I get it, because I resisted this. I told you I did not want to get up off of my bathroom floor and go become a different person. But I didn't have any other options. And I don't want you to get $75K in credit card debt deep to literally not know how you're going to afford your next meal. There was a time when I told my husband, I don't even think we can go to Walmart today because there's not enough on the card. That's what it took for me to start releasing the spiritual grip from my business and start acting like a real CEO. But I don't want you to have to get there. And if you're someone who just thinks this is like a hobby and you're just fine with whatever referral comes to you, blah, 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 that will run out. We literally can't afford as coaches to keep waiting on the universe. First of all, people are already going to AI to go get the things that you could help them with already. So people are just going to stop thinking about you. You're not going to have any traction if you keep waiting on the universe, because the universe is changing faster than ever. And if you keep waiting, well, then nice knowing you. You'll probably have to go find a way to work with robots. And I'm just being radically honest with you, because these are the conversations that I have with coaches all of the time. The options in 2025 are literally build a system or let it go. Let it go. And maybe that is what you need. We know the law of surrender is good, and maybe you'll be inspired to go write a book or throw some other spaghetti at the wall and not worry about getting coaching clients. Of course, you have that choice. But if you know you are meant to be a transformational leader and you have something that the world needs, but they're just not getting it right now, I pray. I got my prayers up for you, but I also have my own 2 feet on the ground doing the actions, like recording these videos for people who aren't even in our program but need these solutions, because I know that alignment comes through action. I feel more on purpose now than I ever did when I was taking 24 hours to make decisions and deeply studying my human design chart. Just mental masturbation. It feels so much better to be on purpose. And so if you are waiting for a sign and you still haven't found it 30 minutes into this video, then best wishes. Maybe your trajectory is changing. Amazing, good luck. But if it's time to put your feet on the ground, build your own balance beam, and become the coveted, respected, divinely guided leader that you want to be, let's build a client acquisition system. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, go watch how we do it in our CEO system walkthrough. You can see exactly how I was able to go from $75K in credit card debt, crying on the bathroom floor, praying to God, to showing up and making YouTube videos from a place of abundance because we make $100K per month, helping people, changing lives, living our purpose, and enjoying my morning rituals. You can have it all, but you won't unless you start taking action. Action, action. Now to you. What action are you going to take? Let me know in the comments below. Cheers to growth.